Welcome to the Be Happy Now show. Flex your soul connection muscle and be your inner guide to fulfillment and purpose. I'm Claudia-Sam. If you know that you're here for a bigger reason, this is the place to be. Together, we ditch the self-care guilt and quit the go with less fear and more trust. Tune in to living life in alignment with your full potential. The Be Happy Now show starts now. Welcome to another episode of the Be Happy Now show. I'm always so excited to just snuggle up in your ear with you. I wish I could see, where you are. Are you walking your dog? Are you cooking dinner? Are you just waking up? Let me know when you listen to the Be Happy Now show the most. I'm Claudia-Sam, your soul connection coach, and today's show is all about communicating what you want from the heart. And I will explore in this episode the difference between saying what's on your heart so that, someone actually on purpose gets hurt versus communicating your needs from a place of passion and purpose. A lot of my clients come to me and they're saying, "Oh, I want to be able to communicate this to my husband, to my friend, to my boss, but I'm so afraid of how it will land. I'm so afraid of disappointing them. I'm afraid of hurting them. I'm afraid. Often what comes is, I'm afraid that if I keep changing and transforming and actually setting boundaries and talking from the heart and communicating my needs and my wants, that I'm going to lose connection with that person that I love, that my relationships will fall apart." And I want to say, I hear you. And to these clients who work with me and who work on themselves, who say yes to themselves, they learn the recipe that I'm going to teach you today. They learn to use this recipe by practicing it. Now, of course, when you listen to a podcast, you're going to get information. You're receiving information should you be willing to receive the information. And know that it kind of stops there when you listen to a podcast like this one. So my invitation for you is to take action. Do you want to practice that for real, to be able to communicate your needs and your desires from your heart space instead of exploding, instead of hurting other people, instead of being afraid to actually use your voice? Do you want to put that in practice? Then take an action. Join my community. Go to my free Facebook page, my free Facebook group. You have it in you. Go to claudiasamsoulcoaching.com and click on the Start Here button and join my email community so that you can be in the know of the offers that I have for you. You can even meditate with me for free on the free meditation app, Insight Timer. And from there, you can learn more about taking the next step, like joining the Tune In program or my group, the Tune In Journey, so that you can make this transformation a consistent, a real thing for you. Okay. All right. So like I said, I'm going to share the recipe that you can use to communicate clearly from the heart and how you can tune back into really what's important to you. And first, I want to say that, of course, to do this, you get to know what's important to you. If you're like, well, I don't know what I want and I don't know what's important to me. Aha, this is where you get to practice it even deeper and join me for an intensive heart mapping 2 months together so that you can gain clarity on what it is that you want, so that from that place, you can then communicate what you want. How does that sound? So in the show notes, there's the link to my Google Doc for this heart mapping intensive, where you and I get to hold space for your intuition to speak so that you can really have clear vision as to what it is that your next steps are, whether you are moving, changing jobs, going through a transition of any kind. Getting clear on what you want will help you to communicate from that place of empowerment, empowering from a place of feeling empowered, knowing what your desires are. Does that make sense to you? Cool. Okay. To be able to communicate what you want, it's almost like feeling this, when you look at a tree. I was just on a walk with the dogs earlier, and it was super sunny that one period when I go out and go for a walk and it's sunny. I'm just always so grateful that, yes, I was out for that time where it was sunny. And then at the end of the walk, the wind picked up and I could see the tall trees, like the top part of the tree, and the branches and the leaves, they were swinging. There's a little bit of colors here in the trees. And so it's really beautiful. And I could see how grounded and rooted these trees were. And imagine how deep and wide the roots of a tree can go, so that no matter the weather, whether it's autumn and the leaves are changing colors and they're falling, or they're receiving wind or a big storm, when they are rooted, anchored in their right then and their place, it's much easier to swing by whatever is happening. When you are anchored in what it is that you want, when you are anchored into your purpose, into your inner confidence, when you consistently choose to act and make decisions from a place of inner power, there's no other way than to feel proud of yourself. There's no other way than creating positive ripple effects for other people to feel empowered in their decision making. Okay. So when you are anchored in who you are, in your desires, in your inner light, and in your inner confidence, it's like easier for you to have self-compassion, and it's easier to have an open heart discussion because you know that you are unapologetically you. And when you stand unapologetically in who you are, knowing that you don't need to be somewhere else, you don't need to be someone else, you don't need to put on a face or a persona, or you don't need to do, and embody the energy of proving so that other people are happy or so that the old version of you feels productive. No. Instead, you speak from the heart, you speak what you want, and you trust that you are enough. You trust that you are enough. That's the goal, to be able to communicate from that place of worthiness, even through messy enoughness. When you are anchored in who you are, you get to communicate from that place, and the other people have no choice but to feel that energy. And if they don't feel your self-compassion and your empowerment and your confidence in a positive way, see it as it is only a mirror to them. So however you act, in the sense that whenever you do choose to make a decision or communicate from a place of inner confidence, from a place of your unique expression of the light of God, from that place of love, from that place of, yes, divinity, from that place of I am me and I am worthy, if the other person doesn't feel worthy, if the other person isn't speaking up, isn't using their voice, doesn't feel stable and rooted and grounded in who they really are, then you being rooted in who you are will act as a mirror for them. So they get to choose, hear me? They get to choose whether they look in the mirror and take action to shift into more confidence, or they get to choose to turn the light off so that they don't even see themselves in the mirror that you project for them. It is not your responsibility to beware of the reflection they will see in the mirror. If you want to know more about this mirroring, and this is also what we call triggers, you can be a trigger for someone. But when you stand in your worthiness and in your messy enoughness, you let them have their experience. So if you want more of that, go to, within the Be Happy Now show, there's an episode called Truth About triggers. So find the Truth About Triggers episode, and from there you can totally learn more, dive deeper into this topic. Okay. It definitely is it's a passion of mine to talk about this, because when I see my clients kind of step back, dim their light, silent their voices, and project an imaginary negative, quote unquote, what if future of how the other person will respond, what's happening is that they're putting the energy of growth, the energy of confidence onto the other person that they want to interact with, instead of choosing to focus their energy on growing their inner confidence. So it's a little bit like, in an arcade, what's the name of the game there when you, and the arcade, there's these fake animals that pop out of holes, and then you have to use like a hammer to kind of hit them. Jacob, do you know?
Sorry,
don't know.
One more time, what was the question?
Jacob is my producer today. Okay, Jacob, what's the name of the game in the arcade when the fake animals pop up of the holes and you have to like
Whack-a-mole.
whack
a mole. It's like
whack-a-mole. Thank you. Okay, whack-a-mole. Thank you. Okay. So the whack-a-mole game almost feels like that's what it is that we're playing. Because when there is, like, let's say that when you play whack-a-mole, there's a nice mole, like, right? There's a nice, is that what they're called?
Yeah, mole.
Okay, thank you. So one of the moles, let's say it's you, and it's your inner worrier, like not warrior, like a warrior, but worrier, like worry. So imagine that these moles that you want to hit are the worry parts of you. They're the negative foreseeing of the future you. And there is also, in the whack-a-mole game, there is the other person. Let's say you have like a mole that's worry, you have a mole that's fear, you have a mole that's the negativity and the foreseeing of the future, and you have other moles that are the other person's fears and the other person's worries and the projection that person, whatever judgment they would put on you. But then you use the hammer and you only whack your own moles. Okay, we want to get the other ones out of the way, because we then get to shine a light on what's really there for us, what is preventing us from accessing our inner confidence. Okay, let's just trust that this analogy worked for now. Here's my recipe, as I promised, to communicating from the heart without fearing the response from others. Okay, you're listening to the Be Happy Now show. I'm Claudia-Sam, your soul connection coach. And before we go into that, if it's the first time that we're meeting, I'm here to help you access your inner confidence and truly be in your light. Tap into that unique expression of the light of positive energy source that you are, so that you can also use your intuition and lead life from a place of passion. And I do that using my tune-in method. If you want to know more about that, go to tuneinmethod.com or check out the show notes for more links. Okay, there is 7 points. 7 points to my recipe. Okay, 7 points to my recipe. So let's just start with number 1. Number 1 is acknowledge that just like you, the person you wish to communicate with is also human and has fears. Just like the whack-a-mole, it's your worry and it's their worry. Acknowledge that just like you, the person you wish to communicate with is also human and has fears. You're not better than them. They're not better than you. You're not lesser than them. They're not lesser than you. Can't we just like sigh? Relief? All right, I'm having a conversation with another human. That's the first part of my recipe for communicating from the heart without fearing the response from another. The second part of the recipe is to notice that you might have been focusing on what you're afraid of will happen. You know, when my clients come to me and they say, I really want to be able to tell my partner that I need support financially, but I am afraid that he will judge me and that he will tell me I told you so, and all of the fears. So if you're focusing on what you're afraid will happen, if you're focusing on what you're afraid of, what you don't want, right? You don't want your partner to yell at you or to judge you or to push you away. Well, you're focusing on the quote unquote negative what if, and you're projecting a future that hasn't yet happened. You're projecting a future that hasn't yet happened. And the only step here in the recipe is notice. The first step was to acknowledge that just like you, the other person is human. And the second step is, hey, I'm just going to notice, have I been entertaining this like projection of the future that's not even true because it's not happening right now? Be aware without judgment. That's the best part of the practice, to notice without being like, oh man, I'm focusing on the negative what ifs. Oh man, that would be judging you. That's not what we want. We don't want to put a good or bad connotation on the thought. We just want to notice. Okay. The third part of the recipe is to make a choice that from this noticing of the projection of a fake, not yet, not even real future, make a choice to revert back to what it is that you want. And you will know what you want by coming into the heart mapping intensive with me, for example, or on a coaching call with me, or in any other container where you get to be held and get out of your head and access your heart. So if, for example, you want to talk to your partner about the mortgage rates that are going higher, and you are noticing that you're afraid, you know that what you want is to trust that everything will work out and that you will be inspired to take aligned actions that go hand in hand with the human, ego, logistic, material part of you and the trusting, loving nature that you are. So if that's what you want to trust, you want to get into a conversation with that energy. So after you've noticed that you might have been focusing on, oh my gosh, what is he going to say? What are they going to say? What is she going to say? Make a choice to revert back. Oh, right, this is what I want. That was the third part of the recipe. Fourth part of the recipe is be coached on whatever is preventing you from believing that you are worthy of what it is that you want. I'll say that again. Be coached on whatever is preventing you from believing that you are worthy of that desire, of what it is that you want. Often this is where it blocks. Halfway through the communication from the heart recipe, there's a block because there's a belief that you are not worthy of trusting, of attracting the aligned actions and the inspirations to take aligned action, so that trust is easy, so that you attract the money for the higher mortgage rate. There is a part of you that might be like, no, I'm not worthy of that. I don't believe in that. Okay, well, this is where the work gets to happen. You get to be coached on removing these obstacles, moving past these obstacles, not letting them weigh you down. So be coached, be willing to move past these beliefs of unworthiness. The fifth part, once you've uncovered, once you were able to kind of, well, whack all the moles, and you were able to remember your worthiness because it is innate, when you got to that place of coaching yourself, being coached through that, not forcing yourself or convincing yourself to believe it, but rather really, truly anchoring yourself in the limiting belief that is preventing you from stepping into your whole self. The fifth, so yeah, once you've done that, the fifth part of the recipe, believe that it is possible for you to experience those feelings. Okay, so once you're being coached on believing that you're worthy, believe it. Really believe it. How do you do that? Feel it in your body. You want to trust that everything's going to be okay. It's not about bypassing all the problems that might occur. It's about believing and trusting, or rather, it's about remembering that trust is a feeling, trust is an energy, trust is a strong choice of the energy of love over the energy of fear. Trust is a strong choice to put more attention on the energy of love over the energy of fear. That's when you get to turn up the volume of the feeling of what it is that you want, the feeling that it's giving you. That's when you get to believe. From what you want to what it feels like, to consistently feeling it time and time again. I'm not saying 24 hours a day. I'm saying just keep going back to it. Keep choosing love over fear. Keep choosing trust over doubt. Keep choosing confidence over worry. Okay. And that will help you believe that it is possible for you to experience those feelings. The sixth part of this recipe, two more. Decide what energy you wish to bring into the conversation and surrender to the energy of trust that you are enough, that your passion and your innate worthiness gives you permission to make the request that you want to make. Decide what's the energy you want to bring into the conversation. Now that you've acknowledged that the other person is human, that you're noticing, oh, right, I've been focusing on the negative what ifs. I'm choosing to come back to what it is that I want. And oh, wait a minute, I'm not believing fully that I can get what I want. Okay, be coached on it. We're not having the conversation yet, right? You're really focusing on yourself. You're turning the mirror towards yourself first. Then you believe into your worthiness to get what you want in your desire. And then you decide, okay, I'm ready for the conversation now. I'm anchored, like I'm rooted like the big trunk and roots of the tree. So now I'm deciding that I wish to bring the energy of love over fear to my conversation. Maybe I wish to bring the energy of kindness and compassion or understanding or acceptance. Decide what energy you wish to bring to the conversation. Okay. The seventh and last piece of this recipe to communicating from the heart without fearing the response from another is to have courage and expect all possibilities of your request being denied, of your request being approved, of your request being negotiated and modified. Have courage and expect all possibilities of your request so that it be denied, approved, negotiated, modified. Because once you go into a conversation without expectation, wow, can it become better? I had a similar conversation about finances with my partner, and I went through this is why this recipe came about, because that's exactly what I went through. And the conversation lasted, I think, 47 seconds. Because I just had the courage. I just held the energy of trust, the energy of positivity. I held that energy, and that's what transpired. And he said, oh, yeah, that makes total sense. Great. And there it was, 47 seconds later, I had made my request. I had anchored into what it is that I want. And I just felt really good. And there it was, so easily done. Communicating from the heart starts in your worthiness. When you get to believe in who you are, when you get to remember this enoughness, and you get to act from it, magic happens. Miracles happen just like that. Having a conversation that instead of lasting 2 hours lasts just a few seconds. And that can happen for you too. So if you want to keep flexing your muscle of soul connection so that you can keep bringing yourself back to your worthiness, to what's important to you, to your passion, so that you can lead life from that place, and so that it has positive ripple effects in all of your relationships and all that you do and all that you are, then I would love to have a conversation with you. If you go to tuneinmethod.com, and at the top of the page, it says, say yes to yourself. Click on that with curiosity and no expectations. Just click on that. Let's book a heart to heart. Let's have a conversation and let's get to see, okay, what else is there for you to grow from and grow out of? Thank you for being here. And wink, wink, stay open and curious, because there are news about a 2023 in-person exotic retreat that is coming your way. And I'm so excited to share more details with you soon. Bye. You've been listening to the Be Happy Now show with me, Claudia-Sam. Flex your soul connection muscle and be your inner guide to fulfillment and purpose. Tune in live every Thursday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern on transformationtalkradio.com. You are worthy of being you and of connecting to what stops you from living the life you are meant to live. Access more soul connection coaching at claudiasamcoaching.com.